Welcome back to Are You a Fan, where we explore individual characters from your favorite sci-fi, action, and fantasy genres. A big thank you to Moonbound Productions for supporting today's episode. Here's your hosts, Dick Rail and Joker.
Sad that you would teach that phrase.
I just used it one time for the song in our D&D group.
But that is such an old-ass phrase.
Old-ass phrase.
Pretty sure it's older than her.
I'm just disappointed I used it. I'm disappointed I sent that song. I'm like, y'all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. And now every time we're going D&D, she's like, you ready for this? I'm like, fucking, it's getting old now. Let it die so we can bring it back just like our Lord and Savior. Is that gonna get cut? Is that gonna we keeping that one? I mean, we are talking about a man who has been dead several times and come back, just like many people's Lord and Saviors. The Vision, for those of you wondering. This week's episode, we'll be talking about the Avengers' naked purple green friend, the Vision. Okay, what we got? Well, Vision first appeared in Avengers Volume 1, number 57, published in August 1968 with a cover date of October 1968. I'm imagining it got published, but there had to be some kind of delay, because I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah, that really makes no sense. Like, why would you have a different date on your cover than when you published it?
Yeah, I also don't know enough about books, I guess.
Yeah, I know nothing about publishing. So
I've seen your bookcase. Yes, I believe that.
Okay. I got some comics on it at least.
True. Okay, now what else we got on this guy?
He was created by Roy Thomas and artist John Buscema. I'm gonna assume that's how it's pronounced.
Let's go with Buscema.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Well, actually, fun little fact I did find out with these two creators. I believe it was Roy Thomas who first brought the idea of creating the Vision to Stan Lee. Because, fun fact for those who don't know, Vision was actually a character from World War II, who the creator wanted to bring back just the original Vision, who was an alien from an alternate reality brought here.
Named Aakash.
Oh,
I actually have it in there.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. Named Aakash. And, Stan Lee wanted a robot, so they compromised by making him a robot with some of the aesthetic looks of the original Vision and some of his powers.
Yep, because Stan didn't want another alien or another thing from another dimension.
Yeah, he's
like, I want
terrestrial.
Want something entirely new, but it can also be an android.
Yeah.
And that's just how they compromised into what became the Vision.
Yeah, but the original Vision was created in the 40s, and fun fact, because, I've seen a lot of people when I was doing the research, they're like, isn't that just Martian Manhunter? No. Martian Manhunter is just Vision. So,
pretty much.
Because Martian Manhunter, I believe, was created in the 50s. So, you DC boys, think about that. Comic people steal from each other all the time. Can we all just get over it?
Yeah, because some fans also thought that Vision was a ripoff of DC's Red Tornado, also happened to be red and android. But he debuted several months before, so that one actually might just be a coincidence this time around.
Exactly.
And not actually somebody taking the idea from another.
Because, some people may try to hold on to that argument, like, well, he was created a few months before. Do you know how long it takes to get a comic written, published, and issued? No way could a few months could you have ripped off a character and got it out in a few months after.
And they were probably already making Vision while the Red Tornado stuff was being made too.
Exactly.
It just happened to come out sooner.
So unless you can find some secret recordings of people stealing the idea, there's really no evidence at all that the character was stolen. But yeah, weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Same look. They also both have the same interest in trying to be human.
And other than that, though, that's about it. All their powers are different, and they have very different personalities.
Yeah, the one's actually just legitimately a machine that learns to be human. The other one's a machine with human brainwaves that's trying to come to terms with being a machine. So completely, yeah, there's no real similarities, just kind of a
They
look
just both
aesthetic.
happen to be red and an android.
Yeah, literally the only similarity. Which at that point, everybody's ripping off everybody.
Oh yeah,
Because how many androids do we have in the fictional world at this point?
way too many.
I think 2 of them kicked Goku's ass at one point. So let's talk a little bit about his inspiration, which I kind of think is cool. In that he was in his new version, in that the Vision that we all know and love, was inspired by Spock and Data from Star Trek.
Yeah, I actually kind of read a little bit on that. Apparently, it was inspired by Spock for being robotic-like.
Yeah,
Being the Vulcan and being the very logical. He was very android-like, and they're like, you.
Yeah, and it also makes sense because Spock does show an interest in, even though he's very logical and very robotic, he does at least show an interest in not just disregarding human emotions.
Yep.
He looks at them and he's like, well, why are you feeling this way about this? I would like to understand.
And then you got Data, who, at certain points in the series, also tries to be more human.
And legitimately, has a passion for human stuff. He finds it very intriguing and he wants to be it.
So it's essentially just both of them combined made the new Vision.
Which, you look at Vision and, yeah.
Minus the pointy ears.
Minus the pointy ears. You look at me and you're like, oh yeah, that tracks. That's basically Spock, right?
Yo.
Okay, let's go into his real world, or into his in-world. Let's see what this guy's been up to in the comics, and not the movies. Vision was created by Ultron to kill the Avengers, though Ultron wouldn't give him his name.
Yeah, he had no intent on giving Vision a name. It was just his quote-unquote son.
Oh shit, I thought Ultron did name him Vision because he was his vision of
You would think, but no, that actually came after Ultron sent him to the Avengers mansion, and Wasp would witness him floating through the mansion and described Vision as a ghostly vision.
Oh damn, I must have missed
And he
that.
later picked it up from the Avengers and took up that name.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I just thought that was kind of funny. It's like, no, he just got it because he was quoted as a ghostly vision. I was like, no, but we're sticking with that.
I mean, not the worst name.
Right. This is a really weird thing to latch onto for your name.
Yeah, I do kind of want to make a point for anybody listening who knows this character from the movies. The movies have to take liberties. They only own certain properties in that. They also got, they're trying to make it their own, so, they're not going to follow the story bit by bit. But yeah, Vision was created basically to be a son of Ultron, to just do Ultron's bidding and kill the Avengers. Wasn't supposed to be a body for Ultron. Also, wasn't originally made out of adamantium.
No. I mean, besides that and the purpose it was being made, for the most part, it's similar enough, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, they take certain liberties,
Yeah.
but still, similar enough. So what else we got here?
So he would later turn on Ultron after fighting the Avengers and studying them. He decided they were good people, and ultimately that Ultron was corrupt. So that's when he's like, no, we're going to go away from my programming, and I'm going to side with the guys you sent me to kill.
Okay, well, I mean, that's the problem with giving a machine sentience and free will. If you're gonna build a robot son to do your bidding, I don't know, maybe install an off switch. I know my parents wish they did.
I think a lot of our parents did.
Right? Okay, we also got. So it was discovered that the body of the Vision was actually made from the original Human Torch, which I guess they just kept as canon in this world. They kept Captain America. Why not keep the original Human Torch?
Right.
Who, fun fact, was a machine. I knew the original Human Torch, who was created in World War II, was the kind of the inspiration for the new Human Torch in Fantastic Four. I just assumed he was human.
So, it would be a good assumption. Unless you told otherwise, why would you think he's not?
Yeah, the name kind of just...
Right.
Human Torch. Oh, that's cool. So, you want to go get nachos? Cannot eat machine. Why do they call you human?
I guess to throw off the enemy.
Gotta keep those Nazis on their toes. So, yeah, he was created by that. Brainwaves were copied from Wonder Man, who was presumed dead at the time. So yeah, no, I thought that was a pretty interesting little side story.
That really is. But I mean, just kind of shows how Zemo is.
Yeah, no. I mean, Zemo's not a character I would call out on bluffing.
Oh God, no.
And yeah, no. So, and the whole reason I even bring this story up is that's actually what led into at one point Vision having a kind of a identity crisis emotionally. He's like, well, I'm Wonder Man? Because that's how he found out he had Wonder Man's brainwaves.
Yep.
He's like, but then how? Then I'm not Vision. I'm not myself.
You know how computers are when they start thinking of that kind of stuff.
Same way humans are, except they can't drink to null the pain.
Right.
So, what else we got here on his in-world stuff?
I'll say, so he would later find out that he had hidden programming from Ultron that would ultimately lead him to betraying the Avengers, though he eventually overcame that.
Sorry.
I was like, which while I was reading into that, I guess it was a crystal. That eventually he ended up actually, much later on down the timeline, I think it was like his third body, after he was the White Vision, he actually reached into himself and destroyed the crystal.
In his third body.
Yeah.
The crystal had been in multiple bodies.
Well, because when they dismantled him and when he got reassembled as became the White Vision, I guess it never got removed because nobody knew about it. And then so his third iteration after being the White Vision, he got back to normal. I don't remember exactly what all led up to it, but he eventually, he would phase through his own body to grab the crystal and destroy it. But it was this crystal that was his programming per se to turn on the Avengers.
I get that nobody knew about it, but here's my issue with that. Tony Stark and Ant-Man know fucking Ultron, who made Vision, and Ultron's a crafty SOB. You're telling me at no point, especially how many times he's been disassembled, they weren't like, maybe we should look through here and find some booby traps. Make sure Ultron ain't up to a long-term plan, as usual. And then, somebody's like, what do you think he's up to a long-term plan? I don't know. He made Ant-Man pass out, forget his memories for about 12 years before he showed up to finally try to finish the job. So, long-term plan.
Well, who knows? Maybe he disguised the crystal as something important that they thought was integral to the body.
See, that would make sense. That seems like an Ultron type thing, too. After finding out his full origins, he was on a quest to learn what it was to be human. So, yeah, he wanted to find out what being a real human was. So, he just went out kind of trying to mingle.
Which we'll talk about later because it became part of his iteration after he was White Vision. It was a part of his life during that.
Yep. But first, what kind of led to helping him figure out his humanity was he would be introduced to the Scarlet Witch, as her and Pietro, her brother, the Quicksilver, would come back to the Avengers after, some shit show stuff with their father Magneto happened, and they needed help, as they always do. Those twins getting into trouble.
Yeah, that's what happened to the Family Mutants.
So after Wanda and Vision would start to form a romance, it was very difficult to show that in the early days of these comics because America sucks. Actually, technically, because of the comic book code. Comic book code states you could not show anybody that wasn't married showing kissing or showing sexual attraction in any real way. So it was very difficult for them to write in, especially in a comic form, ways of them, starting to form this relationship. They could never show them kissing. They could barely show them touching hands. So literally a few issues in, they were like, fuck it, let's just have them get married.
It's really sad that you have to go through that hoop just to show even just a slight hint of, hey, I'm interested in you.
So where they got married, what is this, Avengers?
I'm assuming that's when you were trying to say when they got married.
Okay, yeah.
That is my assumption.
So I believe they did get married in Avengers Volume 1, issue number 75. Okay, bit of an issue with the naming of these issues of comics here coming up. His Vision quest I take slight issue with that as a Native American. It's just, I get it. It's a cute play on words.
Exactly what that is. Just happens to coincide with something of your culture.
Yeah, I don't think they were outwardly. I guarantee they got published, and one of the guys at the firm was looking at it and being like, "Hey guys, is there a Native American in this issue?" And they're like, "No, why? Because you're calling it Vision Quest." Fuck. So yeah, Vision Quest. Story in West Coast Avengers, number 42 through 55. We saw him.
That's a 45.
Holy shit! I need glasses.
I think you do, man.
Wow.
That's 2 issue numbers you've messed up.
42 West Coast event. Thank you. Actually, holy shit! I'm going blind. West Coast Avengers number 42 through 45. In these issues, he gets broken down, reformed, and that's the Vision we know on the silver screen. That's what inspired the purple look. Because before that, he was more green covered. He looked kind of like his original World War II counterpart, who was basically the Martian Manhunter. And this one, we actually get to see him turn maroon, purple, red. I don't know. It's debatable what actual color it is. But
he's got a few.
Right? All the colors of the rainbow.
So later on, I don't even remember seeing anything about this, like what all led up to their children disappearing.
Oh, yeah, that was... Okay, I'm about to say some things here that I do not believe in, but I didn't write the character. Wanda and Vision had 2 children that Wanda created out of constructs because she was written... I don't like this, but this is how they portrayed her as an emotionally stable woman who is not in control of her powers. So she created the children out of constructs. They would later disappear when she got her shit together, basically.
Okay.
Kind of similar to, a schizophrenic. That joke you see online of the schizophrenic, taking the pills and then their best friend disappearing.
Okay.
And it's fucked up. It's fucked up that that's how they went with that, and that's Wanda's legacy.
Yeah, and especially because that would lead to Vision just figuring out he can't help her after the children disappeared and would end up divorcing her.
Yeah.
Which probably didn't help things either.
Nope. That would... you know what? Fuck it. Let's go into a little bit about it. That would also lead to later on Wanda having issues and multiple times the Avengers and the X-Men trying to kill her because she became unstable and not in control of her godlike powers. So, I mean, dark history of writing a female character that way. I don't agree with it. I didn't write it. That's what the character is. Sorry if that offends anybody. I'm not trying to.
Blame Marvel.
Blame Marvel on this one. Actually, blame every comic book industry on this one. They did not write female characters great back in the day.
They still struggle with it.
They do. I mean, at least we got Harley Quinn, who started out rough, but has the greatest character arc next to Zuko.
Yes. Very true.
Okay, now we're past that rough part, and I'm mostly saying I'm sorry if I offend anybody, because I'm not a woman. I can't give a woman's perspective on this character. So... But let's move on. We're past that. We got past the rough part. Let's get going. So after he divorced her, after his body was broken down and reassembled as White Vision, he later would suffer mental stress and curiosity after he realized he wanted more out of life outside of the Avengers.
So, I mean, obviously, we also skipped a large portion of his life being the White Vision.
Yeah.
Because... he was disassembled by not just the U.S. government, but by world governments. They all kind of teamed up together. Like, we don't like him being a thing. They would disassemble him. The Avengers would get his body, reassemble him, which then created the White Vision because he no longer had the brainwaves of a human. Became very emotionless and later kind of went into his new iteration after that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's actually shit that makes me feel as though the show actually got it pretty on the spot with Vision's story arc in
They really
WandaVision.
did when they added in the the actual body of Vision
Yeah,
instead of just the construct that she created.
exactly. Like, they got pretty right with them creating just a...
Emotionless version that didn't know what was going on. It was just he was back to being just a robot.
But once again, still the problem with that is it's still a machine that still has the capability of free will, even though it doesn't have emotions. If you give it an order and it sees it as illogical, it'll just turn on you and be like, no.
Yep.
You can't tell me no. I made you. Okay. Vision would later on work with a scientist, Miles Lipton, an expert in AI philosophies regarding consciousness. Lipton would outfit Vision with a holographic projector so he can disguise himself as human, and the secret identity of his secret identity was Victor Shade.
And that was all built out of that idea of he wants to have a life outside the Avengers.
Yep.
He wanted to learn what it was meant to be human, and so he wanted a way to blend in with them.
And what better way than, looking like him? This is also a world where, strange creatures exist, and it's, people run. People are trained to run.
It makes it just easier to blend in when you look like everyone else.
Exactly. However, Victor Shade, I finally
It's a
realized
very shady
yeah,
name.
It sounds like a villain in a freaking James Bond movie.
Like, it sounds like a villain in the comics.
Yeah, true. I could easily.
I mean, come on, Victor Von Doom.
Holy shit! Yeah, fuck. Literally.
I mean, that's even a worse name.
True, but Victor Von Doom, at least he lets you know
Right.
right off the bat what he's
That's kind
about.
of what this name kind of sounds like. It's like, I'm going to be a bad person based on my name.
Yeah. Somebody I met and they're like, Victor Shade. I'm like, nope, don't need that.
Right.
I'm going to walk away. Do you need any help? Not from you. I'll let you know if I need a person killed, I guess. Or drugs. You just seem like you would.
Before we get to the next part, when trying to remember how to word it, during his time working with Miles Lipton would use
He's having a hard enough time worrying.
because I didn't actually put this in here, but I remember
noticed,
reading it.
I noticed that because we talked about it. I noticed I'm reading. I'm like, oh, he left that part out.
Yeah, but Lipton would use the brainwaves of, I want to say it was his recently dead son, to kind of re-add the human factor into Vision.
I believe you are correct on that. I believe it was his recently dead son.
I was like, I know it had to do with his son. I just can't remember if he was still alive or if he was recently dead. That's part I'm not remembering at the moment.
Which would break him away from the issues that he had with having Mr. Marvel as a, full-blown established adult, and him
Yep.
trying to be like, what, then am I even myself?
And it also helped bring back the humanity to the android that he kind of needed to be Vision.
Yeah, which...
And not just the white Vision being just analytical and android-like.
Which is a good thing. He's lucked out with the 2 brainwaves he got, because, fun fact, Ultron's brainwaves are based on Hank Pym. And that has a lot to do with why Ultron's a murdering sociopath, because Hank Pym also becomes a murderous, woman-abusing, multi-personality person.
Yeah, he was much darker than he was in the movies.
Oh, yeah, he straight up starts murdering villains at one point. Like, he goes crazy and even forgets who he is.
Which explains a lot about Ultron.
Yeah. So brainwaves matter, apparently. For those out there who are like, well, does it matter whose brainwaves? Yes, it does.
It matters a lot.
It matters a whole shit ton, apparently. Because the brainwaves, yeah, that may not be the person's personality, but that's how it's going to form their thoughts. I'm assuming. I'm no neurologist. Moving on. Vision series, published from November 2015 to October 2016. In this, we would see him construct a family of visions. And it gets creepier. that's already creepy. A family with a literal white picket fence showing up in your neighborhood of just these purplish, reddish beings waving. Real Stepford wife-like. Real Stepford family.
I mean, I guess depending on the timeline or the time frame year-wise of when they were in the comics, just a family with a white picket fence is weird.
True.
Like, that used to be, yes, an American thing, but that's not really what any city looks like nowadays.
Horror movies ruin that for us.
Yeah. So just seeing that would throw me off.
And then just seeing a very all-American family, but you clearly, at first look, you're like, those aren't people.
Yeah, that'd be the next issue. Would be the people behind the fence.
Those are mutated Oompa Loompas, if I've ever seen them. Anywho, so after creating this family, problem is, I don't believe he actually gave them human brainwaves. He just constructed them as solid, full-blown machines who were supposed to act like a family. They would eventually start to kill neighbors. They would eventually start to not understand that killing is necessarily wrong. Why shouldn't they be able to just kill these imperfect life forms? And then Vision, in I believe the final panel of that comic, if I remember correctly, you just kind of see them in their bodies disassembled in a trash bin. Yeah, no, he just literally tore his family apart, threw them in garbage, and so, you know, we haven't gone into his most recent comics, but this show isn't about the most recent. That one I just threw in there because it was interesting as shit, and it's a fun and creepy read. So if anybody wants to go check out Vision series, please do. It's a interesting read and creepy and very heavily influenced, I personally believe, by the Stepford family movies.
I can believe it.
Okay, what do we got now with Vision?
Now we're under his powers.
Okay, so we got his powers and his weaponry. I mean, kind of the same thing for a android, am I right?
I mean, mine is his beam, which I don't even know, was that even a thing in the comics? The beam
yep, he did have the beam in that, but it wasn't. He did have the beam, but it wasn't because of the
stone.
The stone. He actually. That was a huge leap in the movies.
Oh yeah, that one I knew about because I knew that wasn't a huge thing in the comics. Like, didn't he still have something up in that area that kind of resembled the stone?
It resembled the stone,
and they just took the liberty of making it the stone in the movies.
Exactly. In the comics, it was just it was just kind of an energy beam that he had. It wasn't really was no stone, wasn't really functional to his processing. That was a huge leap they took in the movies. But I get it, you know, they're trying to, in movies you gotta be more concise and try to make everything connect quickly.
And especially since at that point they started doing the Infinity Stones. So like, this is gonna be a really easy way to continue that.
Exactly, an easy way, also making Vision very crucial to the story in the movies. In the comics,
and honestly, besides the beam, that's really his only weapon. The rest are just really abilities.
Yeah, true.
Because, like, your whole list right here, there's not a single weapon in there.
I mean, they're not. He doesn't really. That is his only weapon, besides the fact that he can just rip you apart or grab your heart.
Yeah, because, you know, you gotta love his intangibility.
Intangibility. Honestly, I've seen a lot of powers. I've always believed in time stop abilities, but I'm starting to think intangibility.
That would be a fun one. I'd get in way too much trouble with that.
I mean, fun one, but you gotta wonder. Can you make, if you have it, could you make other things intangible? Because if you can't make other things intangible, I mean, it's still fun.
Oh, yeah.
But not as useful.
Yeah, no, you'd not be able to use it for a lot of anything if you can't make other things intangible with you.
Arguably, you can only really use it for sneaking into places. But you know, we're out of high school, so and this ain't the 90s. So he's also got photokinesis. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no effing clue what that is.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up while you continue on to the next couple ones.
Okay. Remote interfacing. Oh, this one's a fairly useful ability that, you know, I have yet to see a machine character not have remote interfacing. Basically just allows him to connect to computers.
All right. So photokinesis is a change in the velocity of movement of an organism as a result of change in light intensity.
Oh, like he can turn invisible.
No, it had to do with momentum.
Momentum.
I mean, it still makes no sense to me, but
Okay.
well, at least we have a definition of what it was.
Well, because I'm looking at the rest of his powers, I think I have an idea of what that might affect. Which also kind of goes into his intangibility. He has the ability, he can, I don't know how else to word this. He can make himself heavy.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
He can change his density.
Density, yes.
Because I was reading about that as a weakness.
But it's
is that if he gets too heavy, he becomes a immovable object at his max capacity of 90 tons.
Holy
Yep.
Which they actually did kind of showcase that in Avengers when Scarlet Witch straight up drops him through Avengers headquarters. Pretty cool ability. I remember there was a cartoon he uses it to straight up pwn Thor.
I mean, what better way?
As he re-enters the atmosphere at Thor and just starts increasing his density.
I mean, besides, Thanos just hitting Thor with a hammer since he can't pick up the hammer, what better way to hit him?
Problem solving. That's what
Gotta love him.
That's what people do. Okay, he's a synthezoid. I mean, that's kind of what we've been talking about this whole damn time, so it's not really an ability. Regeneration. Which actually, for an android, is actually a pretty unique ability, because most of the time, they can't regenerate themselves. They have to go get repaired. They have to get fixed.
Yep.
He can slowly rebuild parts of his own body, like, in the moment, if the damage isn't too intense. There have been times where he's been damaged enough that he has to retreat and go get fixed. Like, if you rip off his arm...
It's going to take a little longer for it to be fixed without outside help.
Exactly. It's just easier if you just replace the goddamn arm. Okay, we also got heightened senses, which,
He's a robot, of course.
Exactly.
That would make no sense not to have that.
Exactly. Insanely good sight, good hearing, probably just sensory abilities all around him.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Fighting also,
That's flight.
Wait, what? God, wow. Oh, man, my vision is terrible. Okay, he's able to fly, which, if you've seen the movies or cartoons or read any of the
everybody knows that one.
Yeah, everybody knows he can fly. He's got superhuman strength, durability, speed, reflexes, and agility. I mean, he's an android. He's better than a human.
Exactly. Like, he is not human, so obviously all of his stuff's going to be superhuman to us.
Exactly.
We do still have his other cinematic appearances, though.
Ooh, yes.
It's a little further down.
Oh, gotta scroll.
Because he's had a few in video games, TV. He's been in a movie outside the MCU. He was he was an animated straight-to-DVD movie called Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow.
I think I saw that. I didn't remember seeing him in there.
But yeah, apparently that was the only one he's ever been in outside the MCU movie-wise.
Huh. Okay, that's cool.
His first one in TV, though, was a cameo in the mid-90s Fantastic Four animated series. So it was kind of the first time he touched cinema outside of comics and games.
Yes, he was actually in the very first episode as the main villain created by Ultron.
Of course. Similar to when he appeared in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yep.
He was created by Ultron to steal adamantium to upgrade his body and to lead a group of android Avengers. But like the comics, he would turn on Ultron and join the Avengers to destroy him.
Yep.
Or defeat him.
This year, I just watched that series.
Nice.
Pre-watched that. So that one's actually, which going back through his comic history, they actually did a pretty good job in that show of sticking to
what he was supposed to be.
Yeah, like his character progression, even showing the implant of him to betray the Avengers.
Okay.
And then, he comes back multiple times and they eventually get him fully on their side.
Nice.
So that one was actually pretty good.
Then he would appear in the Lego Marvel Superheroes Avengers Reassembled animated special.
Which actually I also did see. I see that he does appear in the newest Avengers cartoon. The one more created in like 1918. It's just called Avengers.
The one created in 1918? Oh, that would not be recent.
2018.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that in there. I don't think it was on that page that I looked at.
And you know, some pages miss certain things. That one's just one of the newer ones that's come out that Disney has taken over.
That's probably why it's not in there.
Yep, and
it's
putting
Disney.
Yep, and putting on their streaming service and decided to change the art completely, and we all hate it now. At least those of us who were fans.
Oh yeah, he did also appear in the Avengers Assemble cartoon, showing up initially in the 3rd season for a few episodes, including the 4-part Civil War episodes, as a part of Mighty Avengers, which was Tony Stark's team of registered heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Goddamn Accords.
Yeah.
Tony Stark, you fucking son of a... I'm sorry. I got a lot of issues with Tony.
Everybody does. Well, maybe except for the MCU version, but even then, a lot of people still have issues with him.
Even then, you know, maybe take some self-responsibility. Guys, we need to be regulated. No, Tony. You need to be regulated. The rest of us are doing okay. You need to be watched.
Except for one mess up by Wanda, everything else that led up to the Accords was Tony.
Yep.
In one way or another.
Exactly. He's the responsible for all of them. Literally all Wanda's responsible for is trying to save quite a lot of people from that explosion.
Just happened to accidentally blow it up or let it go next to the building.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, still wasn't all that bad compared
to what it could have been. Because if it had gone off down below in that could have easily upset the full structure of that building, causing it to collapse.
And, you know, a whole lot of people that were on the ground around them.
Exactly. So, you know, Tony, maybe sit the fuck down. Mr. Ultron maker.
And then, you know, his video games, most of them just been appearances in like minor ones. Like there was a handful of mobile games from Marvel.
Oh yeah, I've seen him pop up in those.
His first one though, he dated all the way back to in 1991, an arcade game called Captain America and the Avengers.
What?
Yeah.
That was a Captain America and Avengers game?
Yeah, that was when we were born. So of course, it makes sense why we don't know about it.
Damn, it apparently did not last long then.
Oh. It probably didn't in the arcades at the time.
True.
A lot of arcade games didn't stick around very long.
True, they got to get cycled through and revamped, and yeah. Damn, I'm a little disappointed I never got to play that.
Right?
Sounds fun.
His other major game appearances were Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Lego Marvel's Avenger as a playable character. And he showed up in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, as a non-playable character.
Okay. Wait, they came out with Ultimate Alliance 3?
Apparently.
I need to get back on my games. Fuck, I missed that one. I knew about the first 2 Ultimate Alliances, which are fun as shit. I didn't know they came out with a 3rd one. That's awesome.
Well, there you go. I have another reason to get back into gaming.
Okay. Also, I would like to say, just jokingly, or I guess seriously, for future reference, every character has appeared in the Lego games.
At this point, yeah.
Hey, there isn't a character I don't think... If you can find a character that you can't find in the Lego games, please comment and let us know. Because actually, legitimately, now I'm curious, but I'm too lazy to do the research myself, so I give it to the fans.
Off the top of my head, I half want to say Alfred Pennyworth, but I'm not positive on that, so I'm not going to quote myself.
I mean, the Batman games, I assume he has to appear.
You don't know, though. That's why I'm like, I want to say... But I've never actually played the Batman Lego game, so I'm not positive.
Neither have I, but I mean, they had literally the detective chimp on there. If they didn't have Pennyworth, that would be, I feel like that'd be...
That don't mean a lot. Star Wars Legos had you be able to play as a gonk droid.
True.
So
that's one, but yeah, no. As far as like the superhero characters, like, especially in Marvel, find us a character that didn't appear. And you know what? Fuck it. I might mention you in our next episode. Okay. So what do you think of Vision, though? You a fan?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem too horribly different than what I already knew of. Mostly, like a lot of other ones so far, been the MCU.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I mostly knew him as just a side character and issues that the Avengers have had to deal with. I did read the family one, but that was just because I first heard about him. Like, this looks creepy, and I dig it.
I was for the most part, he just seems like, I mean, he's a really cool character, a fun one to read about, but he just seemed like a very side character through most of his existence in the comics.
And he is, but
which is
still
sad to think about with the way he is as a character. He would be fun as just a mainstay character.
He would be. He'd be an interesting one to have as a mainstay, but honestly, gotta say, I'm a fan.
Yeah, definitely.
For anyone that's still listening, if you got something out of this, enjoyed the episode, or even liked the character before from a movie, a comic, cartoon, hell, even that t-shirt that you saw one time, you're a fan too. If you want to jump on this train, why not subscribe and share with a friend? Dick Rail out. Y'all keep riding them rails.